Okay, continuing with part 3 of the Half Marathon mini album, I am going to again mount my photos on craft cardstock so that they are easier to handle. Since I can handle them as a unit instead of as several photos. So I'm just going to put all the photos I've selected for this page onto craft cardstock. And these photos are quite dark because they're taken at 5 o'clock in the morning, but it just adds to the layout. And I'm going to glue them down. I'm actually lining up my page on my grid because I want this to be 1 inch away from the edge and I want it to be straight, so I have to use my grid to get everything lined up properly. And I'm going to trim the excess. And I'm going to add foam tape to the other photo strip because I want it to be slightly dimensional, but I don't want too many things in this book to have a really high profile because I want the book to lay fairly flat so you can read the word. Now, I'm going to ink the edges of these photos in black StazOn, kind of strengthen their edge a little bit. And I have picked a Cosmo Cricket picture of a woman running, and I'm going to use 2 dimensions of adhesive to pop her up. I'm going to use pop dots from ThermoWeb everywhere it doesn't overlap the photo that already has the tape on it, and then where it does overlap the photo that has the tape, I'm going to use tape. 2 layers of tape is pretty much the same thickness as 1 layer of ThermoWeb. So now I'm just deciding on the paper for the rest of the page. I'm just doing a rough cut. Then I'm going to cover it with adhesive and stick it to the chipboard. I found that this black chipboard adhesive doesn't stick to it very well, like lay on it. It'll stick if the adhesive is stuck to the paper and then I stick the paper to the chipboard. That works better. So I think it's just something with the finish. I don't know what causes that. Punching my holes. And then I'm going to ink the edges in Colorbox pigment ink in black. And here's another little strip of paper for the edge of the page. I'm going to ink it in black as well. And then glue it down. Now I'm laying these where I want them. And I'm going to remove the tape and stick them down. And my title, which is ready to run. So I used a C, and that was a D, and that Y was an X. The T was an F. The R was another letter, as were the U. So I actually cut down quite a few letters to make that title. In fact, very few of the letters in that title are their actual state. And I'm taking a 1 and I'm going to use it to put a crossbar on the C so it can become an E. And that gives me ready to run. Now I'm just going to get to work on the next page, which is the F. And I've prepared a photo strip. And I'm just putting adhesive on the chipboard and on the photo strip so I can get it glued down to my page. I'm going to glue it right on the edge here. And then I'm going to trim the edge, what's hanging over the edge. My craft knife's getting dull, that's why I had to keep going over it and over it. And now on the other side of the page, this is the left side of the page, the back of the L page, I'm going to put a note. And I've already prepared this photo strip, so I'm just going to put adhesive on the back so I can glue it down. And then I'm going to flip it over and trim the excess. So now just deciding what kind of paper I want and gluing it down. And then I'm going to flip it over and trim it out. I still haven't changed the blade in my craft knife, so I actually have to go over this twice. And that's when you know you have to change your blade. If you have to go over something twice with your craft knife, you really need to get a new blade, your breakaway blade. If you're using a breakaway blade, that's the time to break it off, snap it off. I'm just inking the edges and punching the holes. This is Scenic Route Grafton Collection Chipboard, and I'm going to use the photo corners. And I'm going to put one photo corner in the upper left corner and one in the bottom left corner, just to kind of brighten up those photos because they are very, very dark. And I just use my scissors to trim off the little tags from where they were in their sheet. I'm going to use these mini glue dots to put them right down on my photos. Mini glue dots work very well for small chipboard embellishments. And this is just another one of those black scalloped border strips that I made with my corner rounder. I made several of them at once so that I would have them ready. And this is just one of them, trimming the edges. Now I've got my 2.5 inch and my 3 inch Marvia Cheetah circle punches, and I'm punching some details from some photos, and then I'm going to punch now some different pattern paper, and I'm going to mount the photos on the pattern paper. Now I'm inking the edges in black so it'll stand off because I'm going to have pattern on pattern, and I want it to stand out. I think circle photos kind of give a fun and whimsical look to an album, and I wanted to add that kind of an element here since the photo strips are kind of very structured and streamlined. So I'm just now putting down this little detail photo. You noticed earlier you saw a journaling spot there, but I didn't glue it down, and that's because I needed to give it to my husband so he could write on it. So now I'm just gluing down paper for the next side of the page. I'm just going to trim what little excess there is, and then I'm going to ink the edges and attach this border strip. And then in the next video I'm going to show you how I embellished this page. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.